And shifting focus now as the US announces sweeping aid cuts to Africa, analysts see it as a golden opportunity for China to take over as Africa's largest donor. US-funded aid programs globally are facing halts and layoffs after President Donald Trump announced a significant freeze. The biggest impact is expected in Africa. The US has been Africa's largest donor with over $6.5 billion in humanitarian aid provided to sub-Saharan Africa last year. This aid funded several humanitarian, health and development projects across the continent. However, the aid cuts have had a significant impact on African economic development projects, such as Power Africa and Prosper Africa. US aid is expected to slash its staff from 10,000 to about 300, leaving just about a dozen workers to focus on Africa within the US State Department. Several African nations are shocked by the aid cut announcement, and some are bracing for more deaths from deadly diseases. And also suffering from hunger. So now that the US aid is out, what are their options? After the United States, the European Union and the UK have provided Africa with the most financial assistance. Following them is China, which has been increasing its influence in Africa. Some believe that China could emerge as a strong contender to take over the role of Africa's largest donor. Beijing is already Africa's largest trade partner and bilateral creditor. The way the US and China engage with Africa is significantly different. The US has focused on humanitarian assistance, governance, democracy, healthcare, and economic development. It often aims to promote political stability and align with US strategic interests, and comes with human rights conditions. Sometimes it is seen as bureaucratic and slow, with political strings attached. But Chinese aid primarily targets infrastructure development, trade, and resource extraction. Unlike Western aid, Chinese assistance is mainly tied to economic partnerships rather than political conditions. It is viewed as fast and practical, but criticized for debt risks and lack of local job creation. While China contributes little to humanitarian aid in Africa, its expenditures have increased steadily in recent years, reaching $3.01 billion in 2023. Now, these are the top 10 countries that receive the highest Chinese aid. Ghana received the highest Chinese aid grants in Africa, totaling $311 million, followed closely by Zimbabwe and Tanzania. South Sudan and Zambia round out the top 5. Other major recipients include Ethiopia, Mozambique, Niger, Cape Verde, and Namibia. Now, these aid grants highlight China's strategic, economic, and diplomatic investments across the continent. However, despite the increase, some analysts believe that US aid cuts will not be an easy win for China in Africa. Even if China has ambitions to fill the aid funding gaps left by a US exit, it might not be able to match the US in terms of health experts and medical infrastructure. And this comes as China is also facing its own economic challenges and growing domestic concerns about spending abroad. So, most likely, Chinese grants given to African countries will remain smaller than extended loans. But as US-China rivalry intensifies under Trump, will Beijing decide to strike while the iron is hot?
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogon, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month we have viewers up to 150 million, that's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model, and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.